Nintendo Cartridge Society presents NCS Classic Edition Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest Part 1. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell.
Hey, Patrick, how's it going?
Pretty good, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
So today we are getting together.
Yep.
Sitting at the old table.
The old table.
Because we're about to embark on Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, originally released on the Super Nintendo in 1995 in the States, only a year after the original Donkey Kong Country came out. We both learned that piece of information maybe 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
We've been recording for 50 seconds, so maybe a minute ago. And we were both surprised by this.
Yeah, turnaround, like, sequels used to come so much faster.
Oh, yeah. Now it's like a generation, and then you get another one. But do you have a lot of experience with this game?
No. So, you don't either, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so, because we both love Donkey Kong Country.
Yes.
The original. And I assumed that when Donkey Kong Country 2 came out, or I think I had played Donkey Kong Country a little bit later. So I think 2 was already out and possibly 3 was out depending on when 3 was released, like if it was 1 year later.
Yeah, well, the Nintendo 64 was like 97, right? Or 98, one of those two? It's one of those two. So I can't imagine that the Donkey Kong Country games continued to come out on the Super Nintendo very long after the Nintendo 64 came out, especially because Rare started kicking up their output on the Nintendo 64. That's maybe where they were most prolific.
96. Came out in 96.
So there you go.
Right, and by the time Donkey Kong Country 3 was in development, that was handled by Rare's like a B team almost. Because everybody else was working on 64, or were working on projects for the Nintendo 64.
Interesting.
But all of that is besides the point.
Right, because we're playing Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yeah, love Donkey Kong Country. Played it a bunch. Some of my fondest memories on the Nintendo 64 are playing Donkey Kong Country with my sisters.
Super Nintendo. Your favorite memories on the
Super Nintendo.
Right.
I only played Donkey Kong Country 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
At like a friend's house. It was foreign to me.
Like at the time, because I would say
at the time.
I came back to this game much later, and played a little bit of it on. I just bought it on the Wii U, and it only cost me $1.50 because evidently I had purchased it on the Wii. So the upgrade, which is actually sort of nice. We complain about Nintendo not having a unified account system, and like that's pretty close though. $1.50, that's a non-cost for me. Whether that will carry over to the Switch, we will see. But this is a game that I've never beaten, and that I've only like picked up as a curiosity later in life. The game holds a weird space. Like I think it is considered to be the best Donkey Kong Country game.
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least best of the original trilogy.
Which is so weird to me because when I would play it at my friend's house, I was like rejecting it because it's like, where's Donkey Kong? What's going on here?
I mean, isn't that the central question of the game? Is Donkey Kong has been kidnapped? Where is Donkey Kong?
Maybe. I don't know. We're about to find out.
We're gonna find out together. Good. So, are there anything that is? What are you worried about going into this game?
That I'm gonna be bad at it.
That's I'm worried that I'm not going to like it as much as we're supposed to. Because we both like the original Donkey Kong Country, and this is just like looks a lot the same, but is just different enough, and just kind of steering into the kind of weird qualities of the Donkey Kong Country franchise, like the Candy Kongs and the Funky Kongs. I feel like Dixie is an extension of that same crappy design, you know? Like,
I mean, it's not as bad as Baby Kong.
No.
Who will come in Donkey Kong Country 3.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've never really loved the Rare aesthetic.
Yeah. But I think it works on Diddy and Donkey Kong. Like, I think those characters are well designed. It's just everything around them. I'm like, what is happening?
There's something particularly horrifying about
Dixie's
hair?
like
blonde shock of hair.
Yeah.
Coming out of her monkey scalp.
I don't get it. I don't like it. It's better. Hey, we can admit this. It's better than a frog with a mustache. Okay?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Can't deal with the frog with a mustache.
Don't care for it. Amphibians shouldn't have hair.
Neither should reptiles. Everyone get your facts straight. Birds also. Birds don't have mustaches. Get over it. I know it's fun, but get over it.
Mustaches made out of feathers, fine.
Yes. Even probably adorable. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a bird with a feather mustache. I'd like to see this today.
But I'm really looking forward to the music.
As am I. Is this a David Weiss?
It is.
Oh,
yes.
Right. I know a lot of the music that I know from this. I know from Smash Brothers.
Well, didn't we pull a song from Donkey Kong Country 2 in our first
first music episode?
Yeah.
It's possible. I really like the Stickerbush Symphony.
I think that was included in there.
Yeah, it's but the version from Smash is probably what I was pulling, because it's like orchestrated and strings and stuff, and this will be all of the 16-bit beeps and bloops,
which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, likewise. How do you want to play this game? Do you want to? Because there are always like there's the 1-player option, and then there's the 2-player where like you're on the same side.
I think we should do 1-player
and we'll
off. We'll just hand off.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. The Super Nintendo games did not figure out multiplayer. Like that is not a quality that they have.
Well, it's hard to do a multiplayer platformer that's not like new Super Mario Brothers style,
right?
Where you're like you're trying to like coordinate, and only one of you can control at a time.
Yeah.
Is difficult to do. But so yeah, I think that's probably the better way to play it.
Yeah. I agree with that. We are playing it on the Wii U. Like I said, it cost me $1.50. But this game can basically be gotten just about anywhere. Like you can buy it on the Wii. You can buy it on that 3DS, which is still alive and kicking.
You can probably find a cartridge if you have a working Super Nintendo.
You know, I didn't look into that.
Well, it sold very well, so I'm assuming that there are lots of, if you just want the cartridge only, you know, I can't imagine it put you back more than like $20.
Might have a hard time finding one with a battery that's still kicking though.
Great point.
So yeah, get it any of those other places, get it digitally, and then it'll save your data forever. Forever, Mark! Do we have any final thoughts going into...
I'm really excited. It's
really excited
rare
too.
that there's like a game like this.
Like a classic.
Yeah.
That we can go back to.
But basically for me with like almost completely fresh eyes.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, honestly, once we get into World 2, it'll be totally fresh eyes for me too. How much of this... I have no concept of how long this game is.
Me either.
I also have no concept of how long it's going to take us to get through things. So we'll do the thing where we take a little break, and then when we come back, we tell you how far we got so that you know how long to play for 2 weeks from now. But yeah, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's just get into it.
All right, awesome. So we'll be back in a second to let you know how deep into this game we got. Okay, and we're back. So we got through the first 2 worlds.
Yeah, we just finished Crocodile Cauldron, which is the second world, like the volcano level.
Yeah, you go inside a volcano.
Mm-hmm. And you, the boss of the level that you defeat is a giant sword named Cleaver, and the level is called Cleaver's Kiln.
So that's exactly how far you need to play, and then check in with us in 2 weeks, and we'll talk about that. Yes.
Yes.
On the next episode of NCS Classic Edition, it seems to have gotten difficult fast.
That wasn't in Donkey Kong. That's so ugly.
Man, it's dumb every time.
But fun.
Is it?
I hate the character design in this game.
I'm hopeful and confident that the game has more interesting stuff to show us.
Whatever happened to Donkey Kong Jr.?
That is Donkey Kong Country's Donkey Kong.
What?
How old do you think these monkeys are? What level of education do you think they've
I'm saying
gotten
7th or 8th grade. Junior high.
What's a Creative Podcast Network?